Good morning, this is Joanne in Colorado. It's a little breezy today, but this week is supposed to be really warm. I've got most of my branches from the winter garden, or from the bird sanctuary here, taken out of my pots. This is my last one. I'm trying to gather up all my flower pots. Probably put another row of them here so they get sunshine. I don't want to put my greenhouse out this year because I just don't know what's happening with us with all of my husband's case wrapping up and needing jobs and things changing like that. But I can't believe it's supposed to be in the 80s on Thursday here. It was in the 50s all night long, which last year didn't happen until June. I have no idea what the weather's going to bring. So I decided I'm going to come out here and clip off all of the dead plants if the cannas seem like there's any life to them. I will just trim the tops, and I've got some trash bags made for 60-gallon trash cans that are clear. And instead of making a big greenhouse and having to heat it and all of that, I am going to put those bags over these pots somehow, some way. And so I've got to make sure that all of the places where I had branches like this big stuck down in the pot, that makes a big hole. And I've got to make sure that those are filled with good potting soil so that there's no air holes down into the roots. I got to get the dead stuff off. And of course the wind's going to blow again today. Oh my goodness, I'm so tired of wind. It has been blowing and blowing and blowing. But I've tried to get all the junk and the pine needles out, because pine needles have a lot of high alkaline, I think, in them, and it messes with the soil. So I don't want too many pine needles in the pots. I did use my leaf blower and blow a bunch of them out of these. Some of these branches for my flowers seem really alive, and so I want to get the bags put over these quickly so that the old plants and the ones that seeded from last year can come up. So that is my goal in the next couple of days. I've got I know that had plants in it, that big pot, but I think those are vegetables. I think I'm going to do vegetables in those again. My yellow pot I need to bring over here. Oh, that's 7 pots. My lavender's going to keep coming up in there. Penstemmon's already coming up. Got to fill holes in this pot. I'm going to put some elephant ear leaves in this one. And I'm going to go ahead and get these ready to grow. I had a little moss left over the other day, so I put it on my little rock that stands up here. I see I got a little leafy plant there. But these bees, oh my goodness, there's so many of them. They're just everywhere. But I did put a little of the moss in here so that it would stay alive for my bird bath over there. You can see I've got little plants coming up here. So if I can get a bag over these so that they can start growing and the winter nights won't, or winter nights, night temperatures won't bother them. then maybe I can get some of these plants growing. Some are carnations. I think there's some bees balm down in there starting to come up. This one had hyssop and penstemon and all kinds of good stuff in it. They should have salvias. So I've got to sharpen my tool that trims the dead things off at the top. But this still feels quite alive. I don't know. When it breaks off at the ground, it's not so much. Anyways, I want to sort through that, and I want to get some of these pine needles out of here, because I just, not only does it make it stickery working with them, but I don't want it to change the balance in the pots. I put a little moss, sphagnum moss, in here on the ground for insulator last fall. I think this one has a whole lot of my hyssop in it. And this one will definitely come back. So I think this is why I'm not seeing very many birds over here in this bird bath. The bees have taken over. And if that's the case, I don't know. Anyways. Oh, ouch. Almost fell over. I've got all kinds of crows out here all of a sudden, great big ones. They're flying toward my front yard. Got my attention and I stepped on something sharp. Anyways, I still have to clean this up. But my honeysuckle here, all of this is new life. Some of it looks a little like it got frosted, but a lot of these are gonna be ready to bloom soon. And this is crazy, the end of March. Not quite the season for it. See all the penstemon that's up. This is usually end of April growth. So it's like a month early here. All my other perennials that are supposed to be here. I haven't been watering these. And if you want to kind of keep them a little dormant a little longer, unless you're getting rain, not watering it is helping. Slow it down. Hello. I do have green coming up here underneath. So, anyways, I'll come clean this up. I moved my flower pots out of here. A lot of them. I gotta watch out for all my pine needles. So I moved them out of here to the backyard. I still have a couple, but spring is coming, and unless something slows it down, it is gonna get here earlier than ever before. Because my little plants are coming up green there, and green here, green there. The grasses and stuff, they kind of don't turn too brown anyways over the winter. Just hasn't been real cold for a lot of it. And I'm kind of getting excited for hummingbirds, because the hummingbirds show up usually in March to April, because they start migrating north. And whether they're coming here to stay or whether they're migrating through, going north, is not something that you know, and sometimes they come, and if you have more flowers than anywhere else, they just stick around a while. So I try to be ready for them, not with just feeders, but I try to have flowers. So I've got some cleaning up, garden cleaning, more to do. And this is my cat mint. And boy, this stuff, it comes up and it recedes. If you've got an area you want to fill with something that attracts hummingbirds, kind of grows on the ground, seems to really like the sunshine. But I have some there, I have some there, I have some there, I have some over there and there. So I can take those and put them in pots and sell them to somebody else. Or I can just put them in some trouble spots. And I might do that. That spot that I have in the front corner up there. Oh, here comes the little birdie, eager for a bath. Boy, he put the brakes on quick when he realized I was standing right there. But anyways, I'm going to be working on this. I can't decide whether to put the bags over the bottoms and just be able to kind of pull them down and let the air out, or whether to put them on there and leave a vent at the top so they can get to growing quicker. Anyways, I think that would probably be the easiest, and it would definitely keep them from blowing away. There's a bird bath I moved from the front to the back so I can work on it in the sun. And my fake rock. And this I want to work on soon. I've got to get rent paid first. And this bird bath, this is my new moss I just put on here. And I put it on with the net so that it could grow through it and it would hold it in place. And I am happy to say that it is growing through that kind of tool. It's larger holes in that net like this. But anyways, it is growing through it a lot quicker than I did through this. This stuff is way too tight. So I do have that little bit of moss that's in the other bird bath that I can move over here if I have spots to put it. And then one of those layers of that bird bath, the top layer, I took the other net off that was the tighter weave and put the larger one on, and some of the moss was growing to the bird bath, but some of it was so stuck in the mesh that I couldn't separate the two. So I put a lot better moss in its place and then put the other cloth over it. So hopefully that is going to give us nice green moss growing on that bird bath 3 layers down, and have the effect that I wanted from the very get-go. It's supposed to look like a palm tree in Hawaii that had moss growing everywhere there was a growth split in the bark. So you have a great day. I'm going to be working on getting my hummingbird garden ready, and I just want the plants that were in these pots to reseed like they did last year when I put them in the greenhouse. I do have a greenhouse or a hummingbird garden playlist, and if you want to find those videos, look at the playlist and you can kind of skip through there and decide which ones you want to see. They're really nice. They show you which plants to plant and which plants I've planted. And last year in one of these pots, I brought them in my greenhouse 1st of March, And with the nice warm temperatures, the fans blowing, and water and the extra light, they just, plants galore came out of these pots and reseeded. And I was able to separate them and put them in other flower pots and just fill these up with hummingbird favorites without having to spend all of the hundreds to $1,000 to fill 20 some pots. It gets expensive when you use premium plants, but salvias are not an everyday flower, and some of them are perennials, some of them are annuals, but they are hummingbird favorites, and so that's what I fill my pots with. All of the flowers that attract hummingbirds. So, have a great day. I will kind of show you some of the other things that I do to these pots when I find what I'm going to put in there, or determine how many feel like they're alive still and going to come back. So, have a great day. I have lots of other birds, but I am eager for hummingbirds. So, see you soon. Bye-bye.